Now, as you well know, in an era where it's easy for people to say one thing and do another and not live by their faith, and where it's easy for people to misguide people with their titles and their platforms, looking at the gubernatorial mansion as I say that, it matters to have something that is time-tested and proven and true. And that's why I'm proud to stand here as a conservative and as a Republican on my principles and on my values. I stand on the foundation of the anti-slavery platform that the Republican Party was founded on in 1854. I stand on the shoulders of such revolutionaries and titans such as Frederick Douglass and Jackie Robinson, as Black Republicans that cared about all Black Republicans and Black Americans and all Americans. And I stand here upon the accomplishments of Republican and conservative values from the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments after the Civil War to Republican leadership that ended the Cold War. And that's why I'm delighted to welcome to the stage next a Republican chair that wants to see more uplifting Republican contributions to the American story for decades to come. Greg Rothman was elected to the state Senate in 2022 to represent Pennsylvania's 34th district following his service in the House of Representatives. He currently serves as chairman of the Republican Party of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He, too, is a man that served our country and our military, and we thank him for his service, and again, thank all of those that served our nation in uniform. That service not only led to his appointment to the National Veterans Business Development Corporation Board, but it also led to him being named to the Board of Trustees at Harrisburg University. If you will, please welcome to the stage Chairman Greg Rothman.
Thank you. Jackie Robinson was a Republican. Thank you. It's great to be here. Welcome to the 34th Senate District. I need to, was reminiscing with Loman Henry. Not only did I attend the first PLC in 1989 as a freshly graduating college student, but I, in 1986, 40 years ago, worked in the basement of the Republican State Committee, and Loman Henry was my boss. So kind of like William Penn in the prison, Senator Mastriano said. But thank you. It is great to be here. And I'm so glad Lenny talked about the founding of the Republican Party. In 1854, a group of factions came together. There were the conscious Whigs, the Free Soilers, the Modernizers, the Northern Whigs, one of my favorites, the Know-Nothings, and the anti-Nebraska Democrats. And they all came together. They came together in 1854 to form the Republican Party. They came together in 1860 to support Abraham Lincoln because they set aside all their differences because they believed in one fundamental thing. And they believed in the anti-slavery movement, that freedom for all was the American promise that had to be made and kept. We're at a crossroads in America today where the divisions between the two parties are probably as far apart as they were in 1860. There's a letter that Abraham Lincoln wrote to a friend where he talked about the differences between the two parties, between the Republicans and Democrats in 1860. He said, there is one party who believes that one man, any man, has the right to another man's possessions and productivity and life. It's the Democratic Party. They believe that they had the right to a black man's productivity. And then the other party that believes that we as individuals, have the right to our possessions, that we control our productivity, that we control our lives, that fundamental freedom. And today, we have parties that are really far apart, and yet the Republican Party hasn't moved that much in the last 25 years or 40 years. We still stand for freedom. We still believe in that one fundamental cause, but we have our factions. And as the chairman of the Republican Party, I have tried for the last year and a half to bring those factions together, to unite, because we have had an incredible 2024, thanks to all of you. The Republican Party in 2024 won every election possible in Pennsylvania, with the exception of not winning back the House. But we won all the statewide offices, 5 statewide elections, including sending President Trump back to the White House. So we've come together. We are not just the conservative party, but we are the only conservative party, but we're also the only party of common sense. And you can see it with the positions the Democrats have taken. So we came together, and we have been, as I've talked about, been united. You know, when I first got involved in politics, there were 1.5 million more registered Democrats in Pennsylvania than Republicans. When I first got elected 10 years ago, there were 1.1 million more Democrats than Republicans in Pennsylvania. Think about that. We would still win statewide elections despite the fact that we were down 1.5 million registrations. As of last week, there are only less than 47,000 more Democrats than Republicans in Pennsylvania. 47,000 versus 1.1 million. Now, those of you who live in the Southeast may have noted that the Philadelphia Inquirer decided to do a story about this momentous shift in registration. But their story was about how since the beginning of this year, the Democrats have picked up 5,000 votes over Republicans. That's kind of like Iran coming out of the rubble saying, we shot down one of their planes. 1.1 million to 47,000 just over the course of 10 years. The Democratic Party has left the common sense. They've left the people of Pennsylvania, and the people of Pennsylvania are responding. Now, many of them are becoming independents, but I would rather be a Republican right now. I would rather be a united Republican Party than a Democratic Party where the governor isn't talking to the senior senator. The senior senator is making more sense than any Democrat in America, John Fetterman. And yet, our party's united. And we're united in the most important election that we could possibly have, which is to make sure that we maintain the freedoms that we have. As Ronald Reagan said, that freedom is only one generation away from extinction. It's not passed in our bloodlines. We have to fight for it all the time. So the Republican Party in 2024 did something unprecedented. We endorsed David McCormick early on. We endorsed him early so that we could unite behind him to win what we knew was going to be a difficult election, a huge upset in beating Bob Casey. We did the same thing this past fall, and we unanimously endorsed Stacey Garrity to be our candidate for governor, the next governor of Pennsylvania. Stacey Garrity, who in 2024 got more elections statewide in Pennsylvania than any candidate for statewide office in our history. More than Josh Shapiro, by the way. Stacey Garrity, who when she will be elected our governor, will be the first female governor of Pennsylvania. I have 4 daughters. That's pretty exciting. I like to say, and I believe it, that Stacey Garrity and Josh Shapiro are complete opposites. I mean, you couldn't have a greater contrast. Someone who wants to be a wannabe. Josh Shapiro, who wrote when he was in college that he volunteered for service in the Israeli Defense Forces. I'm still not quite sure where that all goes. He should be asked more questions about that. It sounds a little bit like stolen honor to me, but I've never heard of stolen honor with another country's military force. But it turns out that he volunteered to clean up trash on an Israeli Defense Force military base while he was in high school. That is not volunteering for service in the military, as someone who volunteered to serve in the United States Marine Corps, or Stacey Garrity, who volunteered to serve in the United States Army and did so for 30 plus years. I know that Josh Shapiro suffers from Trump derangement syndrome. It's TDS, not GDS or GSD, but he hasn't gotten much done. I know he wants to be the economic driver. He wants Pennsylvania to be a great economic place. He talks about the speed of business as if he knows anything about business. Not only has he never worked in business, but he's never actually finished a job. He didn't finish his position as state representative, his term. He didn't finish his term as Montgomery County Commissioner, didn't finish his term as Attorney General. And I think his plan is to be elected president and not have to finish his term as governor. So I think I have a novel idea. Why doesn't the governor just drop out of this race for governor? Let Stacey Garrity be our governor. Let him just go to Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina and run for president. Josh Shapiro cares way more about Pennsylvania Avenue than Pennsylvania. And then we have Stacey Garrity's accomplishments as a public service, actually getting stuff done, actually helping with our investments and guiding our state, being a true watchdog over your money and my money. And the party came together and picked an incredible running mate for Jason Ritchie, a kid who grew up in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. I took a tour of what was once the steel mills of Aliquippa recently, the 7 miles of steel mills. The mayor took me through, and I looked at the photos of all the old steel mills and then looked at the rubble, and there's nothing there. And I had 2 thoughts. And my first thought was, well, this is how we won 2 world wars, these steel mills. And then how in God's name did we let the steel production leave Western Pennsylvania? How to let it leave America? What those policies that drove our steel making and our manufacturing out of Pennsylvania. Jason Ritchie gets that. Worked his way through law school working in a steel mill. Been a successful and tough litigator and attorney. All-American wrestler. Jason Ritchie is going to be a great running mate for Stacey Garrity. He is a great running mate for Stacey Garrity, but he's even going to be a better partner in governing Pennsylvania. So I ask you to join me in supporting Stacey Garrity for governor and Jason Ritchie for lieutenant governor. Our goal is to make sure that we reelect all of our congressmen from Pennsylvania. Madeline Dean, who serves in Congress, who I served with in the House, is quoted as saying already, we know what we'll do when we win back the majority. We will impeach President Trump. They don't even have the crime yet. It's like East German Stasi. Show me the man, I'll show you what he's guilty of. And we want to win back the majority in the Pennsylvania State House of Representatives to make Jesse Topper our speaker. We want to expand the majority in the state Senate where I serve. And we want to stop Josh Shapiro and his presidential ambitions. And by the way, I read his book, so you don't have to. So finally, I'm going to tell you that in a month that we're celebrating, responding to the war that Iran declared on us 47 years ago, and our successful Artemis II splash landing last night, led by Jarek Eisenman, a Pennsylvanian. We have a lot of great things to be happy about and great things to be proud of as a country and as a party. Arthur Brooks, who's a Harvard social scientist, has written some great books about happiness. And I attended a seminar at Harvard about happiness. And the Harvard scientists, the social scientists, the medical school have all come together and they've studied our brains to determine what makes us happy. And the world tells us the 4 things that make us happy are power, money, pleasure, and fame. That's what the world tells us, but we know none of that is true. The 4 things that the Harvard scientists have figured out actually make us happy are faith. Now think about it. Faith. Believing that you have a creator, that someone made you. Because if God made you, he's not going to abandon you. And if he made you, by the way, he made you perfectly. He made you in his image. That's what I believe. We know that. We just got done celebrating Easter. We know that God loved us so much that he sent his son to die on a cross for us. That makes us happy. Think about it. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We should discuss it more. The second thing that makes us happy, the Harvard scientists told us, is family. I just met Loman Henry's grandson, Caleb. I mean, think about this. Is there anything that brings you more pleasure than your family, right? Now, I've got 5 kids, 4 daughters, so there's nothing that exasperates me more than my daughters either, but I thank God for my family, and it's proven that your family makes you happy. So go hug your kids or grandkids or parents or brothers or sisters. The third thing that makes us happy are friends. Now, there's a horrible epidemic going on in the world today and in America, whether you're 8 years old like my daughter who's in 2nd grade or 85 like my father. 25% of Americans report they don't have a friend to confide in. 1/4 of all people report they don't have a friend. So you all can do something about that. Go find someone who needs a friend and be a friend. And that's what we're trying to be as a party, too. And the 4th thing that makes people happy, meaningful work. Being engaged in something bigger than yourself. Not necessarily your vocation or your job or what pays the bills, but being involved in something bigger than yourself. And every one of you here this week everyone here in this room is involved in something bigger than yourself. So I hope that you are happy. I hope you stay happy. And I hope you keep fighting for the cause. Unity makes strength. And since we must be strong, we must be one. Let's go forth. Elect Stacey Garrity, elect Jason Ritchie, elect a Republican majority in the House, send back our congressman, and win in November. Thank you, everybody.